For this problem, we have a plane takes off from an airport on the bearing south 29 degrees west. It continues for 20 minutes, then changes to a bearing of south 52 degrees west and flies for 2 hours and 20 minutes on this course. The plane then lands at a second airport. If the plane speed is 420 miles per hour, how far from the first airport is the second airport? And we want to round our answer to the nearest mile. So I would start by drawing a picture. So we can start with a set of axes, and we'll have north, south, east, and west. And our first bearing is south 29 degrees west. So that means we go in the southern direction, but at a 29-degree angle to the west. So it might look something like this. Okay, and this angle would be 29 degrees. Now we are changing our direction to south 52 degrees west. So I think it's easiest to kind of draw a dotted axis at the point where this arrow ends. So that way you can kind of see how the bearings are supposed to look. So we still have our north, south, east, and west, but this time we're going south 52 degrees west. So the angle between our arrow and the southern axis will now be 52 degrees. So it might look something like this. And this angle would be 52 degrees. Okay. So now let's figure out, well, let's see what we're looking for. We're looking for the distance between the end of that arrow and where the plane started. So you can think of this point here as airport 1, and this point at the end down here as airport 2. And we want to find the distance between the two. Okay, so yeah, let's start by figuring out how long the sides of this triangle are. So we have the bearing of south 29 degrees west for 20 minutes. And we know the plane is going at 420 miles an hour the whole time. So 20 minutes is equal to 1/3 of an hour. Okay, and if we're traveling for 1/3 of an hour at 420 miles per hour, that will give us a distance of 140 miles. So this first side of the triangle is 140 miles. Now the second side, we're flying for 2 hours and 20 minutes, but our speed is still 420 miles an hour. So 2 hours and 20 minutes is the same thing as 7/3 of an hour. So it's just 2 hours plus an extra third of an hour. So we have 7/3 of an hour. And so 7/3 of an hour times 420 miles per hour will give us 980 miles. So the second side of this triangle is 980 miles long. Okay, so notice what we have here. We have two sides of a triangle, and I think it's possible to find this angle in here. Okay, that's a little right angle in there, but I think we can find that angle. So if we have two sides and the angle between them, then we can use law of cosines to find the missing side. All right, so let's try to figure out what this angle is in here. Okay, so we know we have a right angle between the north and west axis. So we have 90 degrees, and then between the arrow here and the west axis, we have 90 degrees minus 52 degrees, because those two angles have to add up to 90. And then for the little angle between the north axis and that arrow, notice that the north axis here is parallel to the north axis here. So the angle between the 140-mile arrow and the dotted north axis will be the same as that 29-degree angle up here. So that angle is going to be 29 degrees. All right. So if we add all of this together, we get a total angle of 157 degrees. So now we can use our law of cosines. So we have our law of cosines is c squared is equal to a squared plus b squared minus 2ab cosine of the angle C. So we're going to take our angle C to be that 157 degree angle. So let's go ahead and plug in what we have. So we have 140 squared plus 980 squared minus 2 times 140 times 980 times the cosine of 157 degrees. Okay, so when you're doing this, make sure that your calculator is in degree mode because your angle is in degrees. Okay, if it's not in degree mode, you'll get the wrong answer. All right, so if we plug this into a calculator, we get that c squared is equal to 1,232,586.532 approximately. Okay, so if we want to actually find what the side C is, we need to square root both sides, and we get that C is equal to approximately 1,110 miles, and that answer is rounded to the nearest mile, so we can use that as our final answer.